Hello there, it's Tania Gabrielle, Wealth Astrologist. Welcome to Star Codes, where today we're going to look at Mercury Retrograde in Scorpio, a very powerful moment at the end of the year. Now, Mercury Retrograde always represents a time to look within, and Mercury is the planet of communication, of language, of how we think, what our mindset is, how we communicate. So when Mercury goes retrograde, which happens about 3 times a year for 3 weeks every time, it is a really amazing moment for us to recalibrate, look within, and get to some deeper truths. And in Scorpio especially, Scorpio is a sign that dives into the depths of our unconscious and brings to our attention what we need to see. So today we're going to cover all the themes and energy patterns related to this powerful Mercury retrograde. We're going to cover the degree numbers, 27 degrees on October 31st. That's when Mercury actually stations. We'll also look at the wonderful conjunction that Mercury makes with Venus at the onset of the retrograde, which is awesome. And then we'll look at what happens with another planet on November 20th, which is when Mercury stations direct. So lots to cover. And of course, we'll end with those tips that'll help you leverage this very important moment in your personal and professional life. So that's what we're covering. So let's first start with the fact that Mercury is part of the major stellium event in Capricorn on January 12th that, of course, we're feeling now already as Saturn and Pluto come together. Those are the two main characters in the play here, but also the Sun and Mercury will be joining them, and that's why it is a stellium. So when Mercury has its retrograde for the final time before this big event, it really means a lot. The other thing is Mercury's retrograding in Scorpio, which is the sign that Pluto rules, Pluto being one of the main players in this big moment. So since Mercury will be spending so much longer in Scorpio due to the retrograde, really early October, October 3rd, all the way till December 9th, Mercury will be in Scorpio. This is a big deal. And in this case, because Pluto is about purging and empowerment, the purging precedes the empowerment, of course, we will be purging the past in a big way, emotionally pressing the reset button in a big way. So this will require a lot of emotional reflection. Now, the Mercury retrograde itself in Scorpio really enhances emotional intimacy. Scorpio governs the 8th house in astrology, which deals with our relationships, and it is the part of the relationship that is more private, sexuality, money that is shared, life, death, rebirth. So that intimacy is really enhanced. So your conversations will be extra tender and loving, and you really get into deeper matters and seek truth with your partner. This also represents any relationship. It doesn't have to be a partnership. It's a great time to build and create positive changes and to listen, because you want to be heard, but also the other person who you're communicating with wants to be heard. Now, Scorpio can be obsessive as it dives into the core of why things are happening, the truth, and Mercury likes to gather information. So this combination means you need to be careful not to go down a rabbit hole obsessively researching something or hanging on to a certain emotional conviction and going overboard with it. So you definitely want to understand the truth. You want to allow information that you haven't previously understood or seen to clear up confusion. And then you want to stay in that emotionally balanced place. So that means setting up boundaries physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You need to have those boundaries so that you don't go overboard. Now, if you are in a relationship that has a not so good impact on your life, right? This is a time to remove yourself from it. Mercury retrograde is always about reflection. And so in this case, you want to really make sure that you accept what is not working. And that goes for your habits as well. That goes for any tendencies you have, whether it is health-oriented, diet-oriented, exercise-oriented, or related to not moving forward with a project in your career environment. It could be really anything, moving forward in any regard, that something that you have emotional hang-ups or fears about, because Scorpio rules are deep down fears. So we want to confront those and acknowledge that it's not so complicated and it's a lot simpler to just get on with it and not hold on to these, feelings of, what if this happens? What if that happens? The fear, the worrying about the future aspect, that really needs to be addressed. Now, shared finances are governed by Scorpio, so this is a good time to sit down with your partner, your accountant, whoever it is who works with you, to make sure your personal and business finances are flowing well. And in any case, you want to keep any conversations very caring, very sweet, very loving. Scorpio is a water sign and can get very intense. And so you don't want to get into the blaming others or getting overwhelmed emotionally and then reacting with the stinger, the Scorpio stinger, which, you don't want to hurt people. So you want to bring deep affection and total integrity and warmth and a caring curiosity into all your conversations now. What helps is to actually understand not only yourself, most importantly, but also the people in your life. So one way you can really understand them to the core is to discover their birth code. And you can do that at starcodeclass.com. That's where you just plug in the birthday, and if you have a birth certificate name, even better. And then you can construct an astrology chart as well. And I take you through all the important meanings of your star code or the star code for somebody that you're understanding better. So just go to starcodeclass.com. It's a really fun, free masterclass. Now, Mercury stations retrograde on October 31st at 27 degrees Scorpio. And then it stations direct again at 11 degrees on November 20th. So let's take a closer look at these two numbers. First of all, 27 reduces to 9, 11 reduces to 2. These are numbers of love and intimate connections, which is why I'm focusing so much on that conversational intimacy that needs to be very cleared up and sensitive. So 11 represents two people coming together. It is the number that represents a portal, so intuition. Scorpio is so psychic, and the number 11 is very psychic. And the direct motion happens in the 11th month as well, so that opens up an 1111 code. And 27 degrees is very much connected to compassion, to unconditional love, to courage, to power, harmony, excellence. It is a number of leadership, of authority that is wise. It brings great rewards when you use your creativity and your imagination, because the number 9 that 27 reduces to is in the 369 triad in numerology. That is all about creativity and love and using your imagination and self-expression. Remember, Mercury is the planet of expression, meaning you communicate in a certain way. And we're going to go into that in the tips later on things to watch out for. So you, as long as you carry out with the number 27 your own goals, your own ideas, and not be intimidated by the opinions of other people, this is really a very powerful vibration of loving leadership. And then 11 is an intuitive master number as well. So if you have any opposing energy in your life, like somebody who is interfering in your life, division that you're feeling, anything like that, you need to look at that very closely. We're also, like I said, November is the 11th month. So it always is about, if there is an opposing force, you need to find out what it is and either compromise or let go, right? So it is about bringing those two pillars together, walking through the gateway of intuition so that you have guidance. And in ancient times, the 11 represented an initiation as you walk through the columns into the place of initiation. So you'll be given a lot of opportunities during this Mercury retrograde in Scorpio to harmonize and unite any inner division that you may feel. Also, the double one is very creative. It's very original. So you're being asked to really be that person who creates your reality and uses your artistic sense as well to create that inner peace and that connection with the divine. So how can you best use this amazing Mercury retrograde in Scorpio in your life? So that's where we turn to the transit that begins the whole thing. Mercury and Venus are conjunct at the moment that Mercury actually changes direction on October 31st. And this is so wonderful. As you can imagine, Venus is about love. It is about abundance. It is about beauty. So this means that really the ultimate expression of this Mercury retrograde for you is to express your love for others, of course, and also your love for what you feel engaged with, what lights you up from the inside. Venus is very joyful, and this combination gives you the appreciation that you need to give back, but also to be very grateful, to cherish your life, to cherish others, to understand that you are a creative being. And it's a great time to just acknowledge that and wrap up creative projects that are incomplete during the retrograde. Spend time listening, attending art events, music, drama, dance, whatever it may be. Get inspired. And also this conjunction with Mercury and Venus favors any kind of contracts and transactions. It's very connected to abundance. So this is very exciting. And then when Mercury actually changes direction to move direct again on November 20th, on that same day, Mars enters Scorpio. This is unbelievable. This is so serendipitous because Mars is the co-ruler with Pluto, Scorpio. Mars is the original ruler of Scorpio. So Mars moving into what is a home sign for Mars will activate a quest for success in a big way. And because Mercury will be stationing direct at that point, you will be really fired up. You will have gone through a major transformation, purging, empowerment, reboot, and then you'll be single-mindedly focused on your goals. So you're able to penetrate through the surface and experience profound healing, profound activation, profound feelings, and you won't be so inclined to avoid issues, which of course we all do when we procrastinate or don't want to see something. So that means you won't be skirting around things, wasting time, doing things that don't make sense anymore. So what you want to do is you want to feel those deep emotions in order to release and break through during the actual retrograde, leave mediocrity behind, in other words, in order to take advantage of the moment when Mercury stations direct in Scorpio and Mars enters that sign on the same day. Now let's look at some tips and takeaways. Of course, with any Mercury retrograde, because it governs the mind, reflection is very important. So in Scorpio, this is even more emphasized. This ability to listen for the truth, to uncover profound truths, and to be ready to accept and embrace the truth, and that is the empowerment part. So Mercury governs language and how you communicate and how you think. So you have an important moment here to understand the deep impact of your thoughts, of your written words, your spoken words, and understand that language is the framework that really defines meaning in our life. The language we use is so important. And Scorpio goes to the core of how your words reach you and reach others. We understand the world and we understand others through the words they speak or write to us. So those words literally determine your reality. And when you, for example, refer to obstacles as opportunities, you will stretch and grow instead of defend yourself and fold up and decide to, look the other way and ignore the truth. So always refer to obstacles as opportunities, and you will find a way through those obstacles. Refer to frustrations as emotions that actually need your attention so that you can process and let go instead of lash out, right? And always use language that is highly motivational, that is positive, that is inspired, that is high vibrational when you're with others. And if you can't, then listen to really hear what would be appropriate in that moment to say. Sometimes we don't have the words, our ego mind, our personality, whatever it is, we've had a busy day, we're tired, whatever, we can't find the words. It's best to not say anything and just listen, take a break, and then you will definitely receive what you need to say, or not say anything at all and pause. Pauses are very, very profound. This happens in music as well. A pause is part of the music, and it is part of any really good conversation to take that time and not constantly be going. When we have a retrograde in the first place, we are meant to slow down more, right? So it's a really good call to action to do that. So refrain from negative language, negative thinking. Instead, use the language of passion. Scorpio is so passionate and such a psychic, intuitive sign. And so this beautiful, divinely inspired passion is what you want to tune into. Scorpio and the ruler Scorpio, Pluto, co-ruler Mars, they govern leadership. They govern going for it. They govern being the director of your life, being the conductor of your life, not succumbing to outside pressure. And you can only do that when you are listening and in tune. So you want to use leadership language because it is the language of possibility and it is the language of love. Wise leadership is what you're looking for here. And when you come through this retrograde with Mercury, you're going to be very emboldened and very ready then for that big event in Capricorn in January is when it comes together. But it's really ramping up now because Saturn and Pluto are coming closer and closer together. And by the time we are through this Scorpio period, we will be in a place in December where we can really take advantage of the profound change, quest for truth, leadership, empowerment, joy that we are meant to be feeling every day. Now, there are a couple other things that I'm getting with this Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, and that is that healing, deep, profound, exquisite healing is deeply emphasized. So you definitely want to go to a place where there is a sacred environment for your soul to feel comforted, and your mind can come to a rest that is so exquisite, so beautiful that you have no desire for anything other than just to be in that moment. Scorpio is so profound, and Mercury usually is thought of as the communication messenger planet, but Mercury is also about stilling the mind, and in Scorpio, that stillness can be felt to the core of your soul. So I definitely would love for you to take this time during the retrograde especially, but also before and after while Mercury is in Scorpio, to reflect in a sacred space and be present in a way that you've not felt before. Be so delighted by your life and by the potentials. This is a deeply spiritual moment. So for you to take this time and create a spiritual sanctuary feeling for most of the month of November is going to really hold the space for you next year. The spirituality that is awakened within you for this particular retrograde is very profound. And remember that Jupiter is still in its own sign of Sagittarius until early December. And this is a wonderful moment because Jupiter makes wonderful aspects to other planets as it finishes up its journey through its own sign, which won't happen again until 11 years from now. So we are in a very powerful, positive, wonderful place right now. Everything's coming together internally and externally in a way that will prepare you for that huge event in Capricorn that's coming up. You will be poised, you will be ready, you'll be excited because you just feel good. You feel so happy and grateful about where you are. You feel excited about your potential future outcomes because you are invested in them emotionally. Mercury in Scorpio is truly about that emotional investment. So this is a fantastic time for you to just be in a place of tremendous authority, spiritual authority, and also to know your code, to know who you are at soul level, and that's revealed in your star code. So just go to starcodeclass.com, discover who you are, discover who the people in your life are at soul level, help yourself to that wisdom, that connection, that beautiful synchronicity, because you have explored the truth in a very deeply spiritual way. So you can do that at starcodeclass.com. And of course, you can do that for the whole Mercury retrograde as we all move through this wonderful period of self-discovery, of awakening, of truth, a profound understanding, and rediscovering the joy of being alive at this time on Earth. Have a beautiful Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, and I will see you in next week's Star Code.